Yo, what is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today's video, we are looking at the 5 best gods by win rate and the 5 worst gods by win rate. We're going to be looking across all ranks, so it's not just going to be top tiers, it's going to be everything that I can find for these characters. And with the top tiers, it's like, why are these the top tier characters? What makes them top tier? And then for the 5 worst gods, we're going to be kind of going over them. Why are they so bad? Is it maybe like a build thing? Are the builds not looking too good? Is it just a product of 9.5 revert and they're just not in a great spot? But we're just going to kind of go through it and talk about all of it. Let's jump right in. Starting with the 5th worst god in the entire game. Currently, it is Tier, sitting at a 45% win rate. With a 45% win rate in Conquest right now. Not a bad pick rate at all. Nothing too surprising. A lot of mitigation, whatever KD. Seems like Tier's just kind of struggling right now with like the lower levels. Don't really know how to play him. He's actually, I mean, over 50% win rate, which is strange for Warriors in Masters and Grandmasters. So it's just the lower level players I don't think have learned him that well. I would assume his build is even fine if that's the case. And it looks good. It looks good. Bluestone. Regrowth is a little weird. I don't think a lot of times you see regrowth, and it is mostly just like 46% win rate, Glide Shield at 46, 47, 48 on Wingblade, and 54 on Binding. So what I'm taking from this is I think a lot can change in these top items. If this was me looking for a tier build, I think I would do something along the lines of a Bluestone, regular breastplate, Winged Blade, Pridwin Binding, and then maybe like a damage item, Runeforged, Dawnbringer, something like that. Maybe even like a Brawlers just to get some actual damage out there, and then go into the Bluestone. Seems like a lot of the losses happen before they can even hit level 20. So this means they end with Bluestone. So ending with Bluestone means a 35% win rate. So a lot of the times, tiers ending with Bluestone, they're losing. Not too surprising. Finishing the Bluestone, though, 53% win rate. So even Corrupted Bluestone is at 54%. So it seems like, for the most part, tier players are kind of just losing early. If they get to that late game, though, they're feeling pretty good. Sundering Axe is even sitting at 53%. The Warding Sigil tier is not working out too well, so probably avoid Warding Sigil. Sentinel's Embrace not looking too great either. Tainted Amulet. Tier's a Bluestone god, guys. I'm pretty sure 99% of games, Bluestone is just going to be his best option. I think even potential for Redstone, it could be okay. But just Bluestone into Breastplate, Wingblade, Pridwin, Binding, and then like a Brawlers or something like that. I think that is your best. Number 4 is Yemoja. 4th worst, sitting at a 44% win rate, which is crazy. 9.5 seems to be not treating her too well. 2% is a fine pick rate. I mean, every 100 games, you're getting picked 2 times. 10 opportunities to be picked. Not that bad. 6,600 healing also. Yemoja, no surprise. Actually, takes a weird dip in Diamond, and then kind of comes back up for Masters and Grandmasters. No surprise there. Really, really low in Bronze. 47% is actually decently high, especially for Gold. So Yemoja, kind of Diamond players pulling down our win rate a lot. Oh, what is... Oh, gosh. Okay. All right. Let's just start with some thoughts. Heroism is not very good, guys. Heroism is a not good item. I've talked about it a ton in my videos. Compassion is just always a better option. If you just go this build with Compassion here, it'll feel so much better. I'm probably still going to be going Compassion, and then I probably would be going still into Cloak, but I'm not going Thebes anymore. I think I'm going to go something like Cloak. I like the buff to the Lotus. I'll probably try to go the Lotus Sickle still. And then after that, just something utility, whether it's Contagion, it could be something like Pesty, could be something like Spectral. If I'm dying a lot, I could go something like Spirit Robe. But I think double stacking is a lot worse than it used to be. And I think just outright Heroism is a bad item. It's always funny seeing Compassion at a lower win rate than Heroism, because Compassion is just so much better. Spartan Flag actually doing pretty well also. If you don't like Compassion, Spartan Flag is a really good option also. So Spartan Flag just in place of Compassion will feel just as good. And then even Sentinel's Embrace sitting at 53%. So there's a few options to be going. Heroism is your outright worst option. It's just if you're going Benevolence, Compassion is better. The 3rd worst character in the game by win rate is Maui, sitting at also 44%, but almost twice as many picks as Yemoja. Maui, like I said, 44%, slightly lower. Nothing kind of stands out right here. 2, 5, and 14, so not getting a ton of kills, but not too surprising with Maui. 5 deaths is actually decently low. And then 14 assists is really solid. Maui is all over the place. Not doing well in Grandmasters or Masters. Doing fine in Diamond, and then just about everywhere else is not doing too well. Currently, the Maui build, Sentinel's Embrace into double stacking, Binding, Pridwin, and Spirit Robe. I think players got comfortable double stacking in pre 9.5. In current Smite, double stacking is just not good. If I was to be playing a Maui game right now, I'd be going War Flag into Thebes, into probably just Relic Dagger, Pridwin. It just feels a lot better. It spikes a lot better. Or Pridwin, Relic Dagger if you prefer that. And then my 4th, 5th items would be something that's counter, whether anti-heal, anti-crit, attack speed like Shoguns for my teammates. Do I need some damage like a Deso? That would be for my 4th, 5th option. But the build when you go late with this is fine. The problem is early game and mid game, you are just not a character because you have 2 items that are reliant on scaling. And a lot of games aren't scaling right now. That was what 9.5 was supposed to reduce. So, my advice is stop double stacking. Umoja, Maui, it's not very good unless you're kind of in like just a really good spot and you're snowballing and you want to just scale into the late game to match like their strong late game or something like that. Also, War Banner is just really, really strong. Item sticking out. Reverent Pridwin actually doing really well, which is I think is probably his best item. I think it is almost a need. Sentinel's Gift, War Flag not doing too well. Spartan Flag is though sitting at 53%, same exactly with War Banner. So as I said, both of these are fine. I think I would usually try to go War Banner on Maui, but I think Spartan Flag is the easier option to use. And then just about everywhere else, he's just not sitting at a great win rate. Midgard is actually a really good item to shout out because I think it's a good item to shout out for Umoja also in the previous one. Midgard is a broken item right now. 95% of games should have a Midgard in it. I know you ADCs are probably like, Midgard. It's good. It has to be built. Build it. Your second worst win rate Your second worst win rate right now is Ishtar, which is surprising. She is not the hunter that I think of as the worst, but I guess it makes sense. Sitting at a low 44% win rate with a 2.5% pick rate. Not great also. Whatever. Not really doing a ton of damage. Only 20,000. Really, really bad at every level except Masters and Grandmasters. Very, very bad character at those ranks. A lot of Death's Temper, which, my opinion, I'm not a Death's Temper fan. If you guys watch my stream, I think it is just a fine item with good upside when you reach it, but a lot of the time it's just super mid. I prefer Cowl a lot. Cowl, Aussie, Cowl, Devs. I really like Cowl, Aussie. And then going into a crit build is even fine. Just replacing this for Cowl and then going into Aussie here. You can even switch out this Dominance for a Silver Branch if you have the attack speed. So something along the lines of Leader's Cowl, Aussie, Exy, Demon Blade, Silver Branch, and then Deathbringer, or Deathbringer Silver Branch. I think it's a little bit better. That build will feel a lot better in most scenarios. I think Devs is a little too slow. I think Aussie Silver Branch combo is really strong. And then, yeah, the crit items kind of speak for themselves. But, I mean, you even see Devs is being built just about the same amount, but it has 5% win rate less than the Aussie. Aussie seems to be doing really well. Death's Temper is actually sitting at 55%, which is a little surprising. 53% on this Ornate Arrow. I'm curious where Death's Temper or Death's Embrace is sitting at 59%. Leader's Cowl 57%. So being built slightly less. Death's Temper sitting at 216. Cowl sitting at 139, but 57% win rate, so 2% more. And I think it's just an outright better item. It's better on objectives. I love this item. I think it's just so OP for hunters. That's what I would be building. Even Hunter's Cowl not doing too bad. And now for the worst god in Smite currently by win rate, Kumbhakarna. He is back to being the worst god in the game. A 43% win rate with a 3% pick rate. So it's not like he's not getting picked. He's getting picked. He's just not winning. 8,000 damage is very, very low. Comparing it even to a god like Athena, sitting at a much better, or not a much better win rate, but a much better pick rate, doing 2,000 more damage, 20% more is insane. 25% more is insane. Kumba, oh, wow. That is a very atrocious pick rate. I mean, even in popularity, 111. Kumba with Sentinels, Thebes, Breastplate, Pesty, Binding, and Spectral. I mean, honestly, not that bad of a build. The only thing is I would switch out this for War Flag again. I think War Flag's just better. Thebes is fine. I like actually an early Breastplate. I think I'd still prefer Pridwin. I think Pridwin just feels a lot better. But like Pesty, Binding, Spectral, these are good items. I think the one thing that's kind of being left out from this build, though, is another Midgard. Midgard's better than Spectral. Like, unless you're playing against 3 crit gods, Spectral is just worse than Midgard, because Midgard is effective against all gods on the enemy team, while Spectral's just not even like a certain god. Like, even if you're playing against Mercury, Spectral reduces that crit damage, but you're still getting crit, and it's not reducing like his base autos by an extra amount. But Midgard is reducing maybe not that first auto's damage, but that second auto is coming out slower. That third auto is coming out slower. That fourth auto is coming out slower, and it's also not going to have that same sticking potential. Midgard is just always a better item than Spectral, and like, unless you're playing against like 3 crit gods. But yeah, Thebes, again, I like the Thebes. Breastplate, I don't hate, but I also don't love. Prefer to see this Pridwen. I want to see where this Pridwen is at. Pridwen also sitting at only 43%. That's the unupgraded. Reverend Pridwen's at 49%, which makes me feel a little bit better. Where are the Midgards? Midgard's 46%. This item should be built more. I like seeing Spartan Flag being built 48%. I think that is like his best combination, his best build. Kumba, I think, is just a bad character now. He was a better character pre 9.5 revert because he was able to use his just base his good tankiness and just was not really able to get bursted. Unfortunately, now he's pretty easy to burst. His damage comes out really slow. His CC comes out pretty slow, so he's just not very effective. It makes sense that he is the worst god in the game currently. Now for the top 5 gods in the game by win rate, starting with Scotty with a almost 54% win rate, 12% pick rate, which is kind of crazy. Even getting some bans, decent damage, not a great KD, but you expect that from hunters, especially ones as unsafe as Scotty. 20th in terms of popularity, which is not bad. And then just really, really good win rate at like the most clumped together tiers. The outer tiers, both bronze and grandmasters, not doing too great, but those are like this. Well, I think masters is actually less populated than bronze, but these are pretty underpopulated. The build, it doesn't seem like the build has changed too much. I think the thing that puts Scotty over the edge is just how good she is now that her dog applies on hit effects. You have Bluestone, Crusher, and Heartseeker all now being applied, and that's not even including being able to lifesteal with the dog now, which Soul Eater provides. All these win rates are insanely good on all of these, so makes sense to see a lot of these. I've actually been seeing a little bit of Redstone built in ADC, and I low-key kind of like Redstone now. Don't say anything too quickly, because before this patch, Redstone was just an outright worse option in most scenarios. But now, after less health on the enemy team, Bluestone's gotten nerfed. The Bluestone Brooch has been nerfed. The percentage damage it does now, this is still 300. This is still the exact same damage, and it also increases your attack speed and reduces theirs. So it's better for trading. It does better damage. The other one does worse damage. The other one's only really for poking down targets. Unless you're playing something like AMC or Uller, I kind of like Corrupted Bluestone now. Maybe try that out. Let me know what you guys think about it. It's the same thing with most other ability hunters. Actually, Chiron's another one I would still go Bluestone on. But either way, on Scotty specifically, I think Corrupted Bluestone could be a really good option. Going to the number 4 god by win rate is Mulan. And that is not too surprising. This god has been complained about a lot. Do I view her as that big of a problem? Not really. But look at this pick rate. 22%. Almost 1 in 5 games has a Mulan, and she's still not even the most popular, which is a little crazy. 22%, 24,000 damage, and she's even getting banned 26% of the time. So you're seeing her picked or banned in half of her lobbies. And look at these win rates. Even the ban rate is like moved up. The ban rate is up. 55% win rate, 36% pick ban rate, 36% pick ban rate, 55% win rate, and 55. Like, this is crazy. Soul Eater still for that first option. And I think it's just because she does so much damage that she doesn't need like an actual tank item. If she just goes to sustain item, she's impossible to fight into, and she can just turn ganks with how much damage and sustain she'll have with her too. And the Soul Eater. I've never really liked going Glad Shield when you pair it with like so much damage, because Glad Shield is based off your protections. Your protections have been lowered after 9.5, which makes me think Glad Shield is a little bit worse. And then you're going 50 protections here, 50 protections here, 70 protections here. So you're really not getting that many protections out of this. I think there is a better option here. I think just going Soul Eater into Breastplate most of the time feels better, or Soul Eater into like a Contagion and then Pridwen. I think something like that would feel a little bit better, but the character's winning. Who am I to say? Curious to see where Bluestone Brooches, 60% win rate. See if Redstone is on here. 60% win rate. Crazy. I want to compare it to the other starters. Don't really care about the base one too much. Wow, well, not a ton of pickups for... We see more jungle pickups than we do Bluestone, and support pickups than we do non-Bluestone solo lane starters. Warding Sigils our first one at 42%. Sundering Axe sitting at 58%, so I did miss it. But I mean, slightly worse than the other two options. Bluestone is better for Mulan. You do make decent use of the attack speed, and I think Redstone is also better in solo now than it was last patch for not the same reason that it was. I thought it was getting better last patch. Is now it's that damage that matters. It's not those protection increases that really matter. It's not the attack speed, really. The attack speed is nice, though. It's the base damage that you get. You're diving the enemy squishies. A percent damage on a character with 2,000 health doesn't matter that much. But 300 base damage on a character with 2,000 health is crazy. It makes sense to see Mulan this high. I wouldn't switch up too much other than maybe the build just a tiny bit. But this character is very good. And reaching into the top 3 is Chang'e. Guys, I hate this character. Chang'e is just absolutely insane. 54% win rate, 12% pick rate. Look at this KD. 7, 5, and 8. And this is a character that actually gets better the higher you go. So... not really a high skill cap god IMO, but she is just better when you know like your damage and when you can kill. Can you just blink ult and kill? Because this is a blink character. And really no surprise. 5th slot is Ratatouille. 6th slot is Ratatouille Calamitous. Okay, that's a little funky. But really no surprise with this build. The 6th item is usually something like either Divine or Ob Shard. If they have / you're more worried about their squishies, you just go Divine. If they have a lot of tanks and you're not really... just diving the squishies, Ob Shard is a little bit better. I've got nothing to say about this character bad. She is just a phenomenal god. I have really nothing too much to say. I think the reason that she is as high as she is because she's allowed to just blink one shot just about anyone. The extra damage from Gem, the extra damage from Mirrodin, the extra damage from Rod, and then the flat pen from Doomorb and Deso. It's just a recipe for her being really good. On top of the buffs, giving her movement speed to building a bunch of movement speed in her build, she's very hard to lock down and to kill with no dash. Seeing a little bit of Book and a little bit of Chronos Pendant, they don't see as much luck as the Deso and the Rod or the Doomorb. Just no real surprise. Pendulum's not even doing that bad. I do think the Gem of Focus is a little bit better, but I mean, even alternate timeline sitting at 62%. And this is the one god where I'm actually curious what gets built more, Blink or Aegis, and it is really not that close. Aegis is getting built 1 in 5 games, and Blink is almost every other game. So I guess this is just the tier 2s. So I'd have to add them all together, but I mean, it's even more than that, because this is 2,000, and then the other ones are 800 or less. We've got 1,200 here, 800 here, and then we also have 4,800 here. So Blink is getting picked up a whole lot more, but it is probably more than in 1 in 5 matches. It's probably something more like 2 in 5. And the second best god by win rate on this patch, Medusa. And this one is not a surprise at all. Yep. And this is the one that I thought would be number 1 in pick rate because of how much she's talked about. Number 1 in the entire game. 25% with a 63% pick ban rate. So Medusa appears in 2 out of 3 games, whether it's picked or banned. That is insane. 78 win rate in Grandmasters, and then she's sitting at almost a 60 win rate in the, what do you want to call these? The Diamond up ranks. Still sitting, solid silver, gold, platinum, but this is crazy high win rate. And the build, a little surprising actually. Dev's Gloves, rush item. I've seen a lot of Soul Eater. I think Soul Eater makes a little bit more sense because it also gives you a bit more cooldown. So something like Bluestone, Soul Eater, and then Crusher, Fail, Not Heartseeker dualities. I would just sub that out. So add that in there. Dev's Gloves out, Soul Eater in. That's the only thing I really have to say about this. And this is just a character that just does a boatload of damage now. And this is another character that I would consider going Redstone on because it gives you so much extra damage with your 1 and so many more auto attacks. 60% win rate versus 57. She's actually doing better with Redstone than she is with Bluestone. But again, not a character I'm surprised about. Chang'e and Medusa were, in my opinion, the top 2 gods. I like playing against them because they are fun characters to interact with for the most part. I don't hate playing against them. It's just maybe they do a tiny bit too much damage right now. but they're very fun to play. Curious if we actually see a lot of blink on this Medusa also, and not really. It's mostly blink Aegis. Not too surprising. And the #1 character in the game currently, drum roll please, throw out your guesses right now. Nuwa. Raise your hand if you're gonna guess Nuwa. You were not going to guess Nuwa. This was very surprising to me. 32,000 damage, though, was not surprising. This character does a lot of damage, but 56% win rate. She's not really banned, so her ban pick rate isn't that high, but it's just still very, very, very high damage. But with a character that just clicks ult, that's probably what she's getting her damage from, right? Look at this win rate. We'll come back to that's what she's getting her damage from. 86% win rate in Grandmasters, 57, 60, 56, 58. This is insane. She almost wins 2 out of every 3 games. That's insane. And the Nuwa build, not too surprising. The surprising-ish thing to me, she's only building 10% pen in her main build. You get a lot of cooldown here, 20%. A lot of the times because you're going Pendulum because she's safe. And then you're going into your Book, Deso, Divine for triple flat pen. The part that doesn't make a ton of sense to me is triple flat pen into a Soul Reaver. Are we committing to killing squishies or killing tanks? I think that is kind of the confusing thing for me. I think if you do want to just focus on killing squishies, I think something like Soul Gem makes a little bit more sense instead of the Soul Reaver. Or like you swap out like maybe the Divine for an Ob Shard to be more of a tank buster with still good squishy damage. And I think looking at the build, you can kind of tell this is more of a spam ult, but it's more of a spam ult later into the game because it's not a ton of early game cooldown. 0, 10, and then you start with the 10. It's not like the Chronos Pendant Gemma Focus Rush we've seen. And it actually does look like there's more Soul Gem built than Soul Reaver. So I guess it's just somehow the top build works where the Reaver's built more 5th while Soul Gem's built more 4th or something like that. And then unfortunately it's just not built as much as Divine is, so it doesn't win that. So it looks like Soul Gem is still a very popular item in the build. I would just say go one way or the other. Either go full kill squishies with a triple flat pen Soul Gem Divine or Soul Gem Rod, or go for the tank busting, which is double flat pen, Ob Shard, Reaver, Rod. But this makes sense to have this character dominating the game right now. Characters are not used to being squishy. Players are not used to playing around their lower health. And I think it makes it easier to kind of pick them off or to do a lot more damage than they're expecting. But that was a long video. I hope you guys do enjoy it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys again next time. Peace.